Welcome back to the Lars Larson Show. I'll get back to your phone calls and emails shortly, but you know the government, at the federal level, they're talking about loosening abortion regulations. Other states like Arkansas has actually laid down the law and said, listen, we're going to put up a challenge that will likely end up at the Supreme Court to test whether or not Roe v. Wade finally holds or not. But while all that is going on, Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch, has been doing all the hard work out in the vineyards, trying to scare up the information that we need, like whether or not the U.S. government has been involved in illegally buying aborted baby parts, as grotesque as that sounds. Tom, welcome back. What has Judicial Watch learned?
Well, we learned they had the receipts, literally, for fetal organs, courtesy of your tax dollars at the FDA. And we've been suing in court to get access to this information. And Lars, I've been doing this for 22, 23 years. I've never seen anything so horrible as and grotesque as the list of body parts and the costs next to them that your tax dollars were going to purchase on behalf of a program to create, quote, humanized mice, for use in HIV research. It's the Advanced Biosciences Resources is the name of the company, and the FDA and NIH purchased the organs from that company. And, they didn't want to give us all the documents, including where some of these labs are that were creating these organs. And the court wanted none of that. And this is what the court said in describing the whole program. The company sold second trimester livers and thymi for hundreds of dollars apiece. The same for brains, eyes, and lungs. After tacking on fees for services like shipping and cleaning, ABR could collect over $2,000 for a single fetus they purchased from Planned Parenthood for $60. The federal government participated in this potentially illicit trade for years.
Now, and they knew about it even while out in the public. The controversy that began with hidden video recordings that showed Planned Parenthood negotiating the prices that they would get, that the FDA knew this was going on. Trafficking in human body parts, and there's no question this is illegal activity, right?
Well, the court suggested it was illegal. The law prohibits that type of transaction from taking place. I tell you, last year when you see documents where the demand is put in writing that they want the organs, quote, fresh and never frozen, it's just hard to express the outrage that behind such grotesque operations.
It is, and I guess
it was stopped by the Trump administration, and of course, the establishment wanted to start it up again. Of course, using COVID as the pretext.
But here's the thing. If a scientist believes that they could make some massive scientific advance, say in HIV research, if they want to go to the Congress and say, listen, this is what we'd like to do and would like you to pass a bill, the people's representatives are free to change the law. If they wanted to go to the FDA and say, can we go through the process? Can you allow us a waiver of whatever regulations exist? They could do that too. But that would be transparent. Tom, you're in the legal world. You know what the Latin phrase, what is it, mens rea, the guilty mind? When somebody is doing something like this secretly, when they could go at it legitimately. Now, they might be told, no, we're not going to allow you to do that. The Congress could say no. The FDA could say, we will not grant a waiver for that. If you want it, go get the law changed. And then they'd have to deal with the people's representatives. But when they do it in a sneaky fashion this way, then that tells me they got mens rea, the guilty mind, because they know that what they're doing is wrong, so they have to do it under cover of darkness.
Yeah, and, you may recall there were some videos that came out, and, of course, those who created the videos were targeted for attack because they exposed these transactions. The other side will say that this was not a profit. This was valuable. This wasn't the, quote, valuable consideration under the law. So they're going to argue what they did was legal. My view is the Justice Department should have been investigating this beyond shutting it down. They should have been doing criminal investigations. And here we highlight the court. He didn't need to get to to the question of whether it was legal or not, because he found that we could get the documents under other legal theories, but he certainly raised questions about it. And I encourage your listeners to go to our website, look at the individual documents, look at the court decision that at least one federal court judge shares our concerns about the potential illegality. So it's not like we're just pretending this is an issue when, in fact, it isn't.
Well, Tom, let me go. Allow me a little latitude on this. Donald Trump always talked about the deep state, that there were parts of our government that effectively operate without any kind of oversight from Congress or the administration. Because the next question I'd ask is, well, if this was in the DOJ, if this was in the FDA, those are both agencies that were under the control of the Trump administration for 4 years. And you might say reasonably, well, why didn't they do something about it? And I would suggest, and you can give me your view on it, the deep state. The deep state said, we agree with this kind of stuff. We're letting it happen, and we're not going to allow the current administration, elected by the people, meaning the Trump administration, to do anything about it. In fact, they'll never even know about it. Is that possible? That's what was happening, why it wasn't pursued by the Trump administration?
Well, I think, as I said, the agency stopped it because they knew about the public outrage, and many Trump appointees, morally and legally opposed this. But you're raising questions about the next step. Where was the accountability? I'm not seeing evidence there was. I think there might have been an investigation or two that went nowhere. I'm not aware of anything happening. And as I said, they weren't that scared of what they had done legally because they were pushing for restarting the program, as I said, using the pretext of COVID.
Wow. Well, is there any likelihood that any of these people who are participating in this will go to jail or be charged?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe this public information we're putting out there will contribute to pressure by the Justice Department to do something here. But it's past its prologue for some of this corruption. If it's part of the left's agenda, it rarely goes punished.
And I agree with you there. I think the left looks at it as anything associated with abortion. They're going to stand up and defend, no matter how morally indefensible it is. Tom, congrats on getting that information. That's Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch, prying loose information with a federal court order to order the Department of Health and Human Services to release information that it has in its possession about the purchase of organs harvested from aborted human beings. And the court said there is real reason whether the transactions violate federal law, and your federal government was involved in it. Glad to have you with me on a Tuesday night. If you want to jump in, naysayers, go to the head of the line at 866-HEY-LARS. That's 866-439-5277. Tell Alexa to play the Lars Larson Show.